Hi guys, today I'm going to be doing a bright and long-wearing fully drugstore look. I asked you on Instagram what you would like to see and I got a bunch of great suggestions, so I'm kind of combining them all into one. So let's go ahead and get started. So firstly, I'm going to start off with my skin prep, and although I'm not as oily as I once was, I definitely still have my days and I definitely still know how to control the oils, or at least mine. So starting off with a setting spray at first. So this is the Matte Finish Prime and Fine from Catrice. This helps to, it says here actually, it helps to prep the skin, so you can use it kind of either way. I like that because firstly it gets a little bit of hydration on the skin, and I really do feel like it helps with the longevity. Then I'm going to go in with a primer. This one isn't necessarily like marketed as being something for oil control, but I do really like it, and if you do have an oilier skin type and issues with pores, I think it's a great option. So this is the Catrice True Blend Skin Primer. I feel like it's similar to the purple Smashbox one, which is really nice. It doesn't have that silicone-y feel. I find some matte primers are just like so sticky and they pill up on your skin, and yeah, they're just not good. So I really like this one. You don't need a lot of it. It doesn't make me oily. And having that setting spray down first just really kind of helps things glide along. Something I always recommend to people who have super oily skin and they're like, my makeup slips around, it doesn't last, is setting your primer with a powder. So today I'm going to use the e.l.f. Make Me Matte. You just use the tiniest little bit. You can experiment with it like before you actually have to do it, but I've never had an issue where it's caused like my makeup to pill up or anything. I'm using a dry sponge and just kind of tapping it over the places that get oily. Oh, on this it says pour your powder here. It knew. But yeah, just patting it in the skin. I don't find it disruptive or makes things cakey. Just really patting it into the skin, and I think you can see I definitely look more matte here. And I only ever use loose, finely milled powders for that. Whew. I've never used a pressed powder. I'm sure you could, but I would just go in with a light hand. Now for my actual foundation, I'm going to use the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop Full Coverage Foundation. This is, oh, I haven't used it in a little while. It's like blocked up here. I reviewed this foundation a while back. I didn't have the best shade match at the time, but I'll link it down below. I wear 15 Caramel, and I really like this. Even if you're not looking for something full coverage, you can just put less on your face. I feel like people forget that sometimes. Like, you think you need to put so much on your face, and that's what can cause you to get cakey as well. I know when I had oily skin and acne, I would just be like piling on the foundation, and that can cause it to slip around. So like I always say, if you have anything you want to spot conceal, like put on a little bit of foundation, like see how this is kind of poking through. I'm probably not gonna spot conceal it because who cares, but if you do want to put on a little foundation, you know, this has evened out my skin, things look matte, and I would just rather work to cover up the spots. So I'm gonna add just the remaining bit that's here on my hand. And this is the NYX 03 brush. I've got a video, I always get asked about my brushes. I'm always using random ones. I don't use any particularly set. On my eyes especially, like some of my brushes are from 2012 for my eyes especially. So I just kind of use what I have, but I do have a video on my favorite brushes, so I'll link that down below. But this is a newer one to me and I do really like it. So for my concealer, I'm going to use this one from L'Oreal. I really love this. It's the Infallible Full Wear, and I love like almost like all the major drugstore brands have come out with concealers in the past year or two, and they're all really great. I really like this one because it's a pretty good shade match for me, and like the CoverGirl one I really like, but I have to mix it. This one is a little bit more neutral, so I wear it in the shade 375 Latte. So I'm going to pat this out under my eyes just slightly, and then I'm going to let it sit, and that's a huge thing for me. I've talked about it a million times, but sorry, I got caught off. Emily's having a sneezing fit in the living room, but I always like to let any concealer set under my eyes, because if not, if I just go in with a sponge, I lose my coverage. And I always get that question from people about concealer, you know, not looking proper under your eyes. So I would put as little as possible. I put on quite a bit today though, honestly, and then let it sit under your eyes. I pat it out with my fingers and then blend the edge with the Real Techniques setting brush. And that way I get the best coverage possible. Then to further lock things into place, I'm going to go back with my setting spray. I always use, if I'm trying to really, really lock things down, I use it 3 times as prep after I've done my liquids, and then to set everything at the end. This is a really nice setting spray. It does have a bit of an aggressive mist, but if you hold it back further, the mist is very even. So you just need to hold it back a little bit further, and you do get that nice mist. I'm gonna let this all set in place before I go in with my bronzers and whatnot. You can do it over your bronzers too, but this is just how I like to do it. I'm gonna bring you in, but these eyebrows have not been done in over a month. I maybe tweezed them at the beginning of this thing, and I've kind of quit on that because who cares? But I'm gonna bring you in anyways, and you are gonna have to deal with these extra brow hairs. So for my eyes, I'm actually going to use the NYX Modern Dreamers palette. I know I've used this 100,000 times, but this is seriously one of my favorite palettes, and I think we're all right now trying to find the things that bring us joy, and this is definitely one of them. There's so many great colors in here. I've done a teal look with this. I've done a one shadow kind of lime green look. I've done, I think, pinks. I'm probably going to go oranges and yellowy-ish today with maybe some blue in there. But yeah, it's just such a nice palette. Kind of light peachy shade and the light brown, and just laying that down. I actually have the what's my word, concealer on my eyes as a primer just for ease. I find like all of those kind of full coveragey, more matte concealers act as great eyeshadow primers, and it's just easy because it's already there, you know. Then taking a deeper brown and kind of one of the rustier shades, putting this on the outer corner. Same fluffy brush, like I said, when I talked about brushes from 2012, I'm not lying. This is in the first Ipsy bag, and it's one of my favorite fluffy brushes. And it's still good. So yeah, sometimes when people ask me like, what brush is that? I'm like, I've had it for a million years. But that's why I do have that favorites video, so you can check that out. These are the shades I've used so far if you're curious. I started with these two, and then I moved to these two. Now I'm going to come into this orangey yellow row. What have you guys been like watching on TV and doing? I'd love to know. I've been watching most recently, I started the other day, Designated Survivor. It's on Netflix. It's like a political drama, which I mean, I feel like we're seeing play out in real life anyways, but it's pretty good. It's keeping my attention. Kiefer Sutherland, you know, classic. But they filmed it in Toronto, and it's funny because ever since moving to Toronto, I'm watching shows and I'm like, they're supposed to be in New York and there's a CN Tower. And I'm like, what? But it's like things I didn't notice until I moved here. But now I'm like, oh, they're on this street, or there's like one of our transit buses, or that's totally our street signs. It's supposed to be taking place in Washington. And then two of my friends who are bloggers but also act are in it, and I was watching the show and she's like playing a news anchor, like speaking role, like kind of speaking roles, and I was like, oh my god, I know her. And then like a couple more episodes in, I was like, I know her. I'm like, what's going on? So that's so cool. I'm so happy for them. It kind of got me thinking that, like, I mean, I'm not an actor, but this is the yellow. Kind of got me thinking that I would like to do that kind of thing, like not major roles, just like minor roles, like nothing even necessarily reoccurring that's like a speaking role. I don't even know if that's something you can do with no experience. But it kind of got me thinking, like being here in Toronto, you know, if I just like popped on as a news anchor, popped on as like someone's friend for an episode, that sounds kind of cool to me. I don't like and not that I would ever have the opportunity, but I don't love the idea of having to do so. Like when I worked in radio, I had a bit of a hard time with like you're working crazy hours non-stop, and then basically like any of the holidays and stuff, like they just don't count. You're almost even busier. So I don't like the idea of committing. I don't know if that's bad, but I mean, no one has given me this opportunity that I've now turned down. But you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of, I don't know, the world is very interesting to me, and anytime I've done anything that's been on set, I love that. Even though you're there for like 14 hours, and you know, like the John Frieda stuff I did, like, you know, you're filming for a crazy long time considering, you know, you get like 2 30-second spots out of it or something. But oh my god, it's just the energy and the people and the sense of like accomplishment once you've done something, and seeing the finished product is just so cool. And yeah, I just kind of want to delve into that world a little bit more. That was kind of my plan after the ET Canada stuff. I really want to get into TV, whether it be like an on-air personality. It's like, here's Samantha talking about like spring trends or something. I don't know. I kind of got my interest in that whole world, and I really, really enjoyed it. But obviously that's on hold a little bit. I'm taking the gold. I don't know if I should put down some. This isn't as bright as, like, on like a regular get ready with me, my eyeshadow is more bright than this. I think I'm gonna put some blue on the waterline. I'll put this glitter freaking everywhere. Who cares? Who cares? Up to the brow bone. At this point, really, does it matter? No. Inner corner highlight. But yeah, because people are always asking me, you know, like, what's next? What's after YouTube? Or what else do you want to do? And like, I have no idea. I'm like, this was the goal. This is all I want. I want nothing more than just to be able to do this. This was my, I wouldn't say it was my dream. I didn't grow up thinking about this. And even when I started my channel, it was never my dream to be doing this full time. But it kind of became my dream, and now I'm living it. And I don't know what else is next, because this was not meant to be like a jumping like a platform to do anything else. So, but yeah, people are always asking me that, and I'm like, oh no, man, this is it. But this, at the same time, I need to be realistic, because this, you know, won't be around forever necessarily, or who knows. Things change very fast, as we've all learned the hard way. So I'm trying to think about what else, because, you know, people like, do you want to start your own makeup line? And it's not that I wouldn't start my own makeup line. I mean, who doesn't want that? I mean, even if you don't have a YouTube channel, that sounds cool. But I'm gonna take this Jordana Easy Liner for eyes in Sterling Blue. It is so old. I got it in a in a swap like a million years ago, but it's the only blue drugstore I can find. I put that in my waterline and a little bit on my lower lash line. Now I'm gonna take this bright blue, pack that on my lower lash line as well. And then Nems and I just finished Dexter. That was my second time around on Dexter, and kind of got like sick of it towards the end, but I was like, we gotta finish it. Like any show, sometimes they just drag on a little too long, and you're like, I love you, but you gotta know when to let go. And then we just started season 3 of Ozark. Does anybody else have so much trouble in between Netflix series? Like, I'm like, I have no idea what happened last season. Like, I think it's a year ago now. And even in like the last season on, I'm like, you're not giving me enough information. I need someone just, I'm sure it's on YouTube, but I'm like, I need someone just to be like, remember this guy who had the brown hair and the weird watch? Like, he did this to the other guy. Remember him? He lived down the street. Like, I just need someone to tell it to me like that. Don't just like show me what happened. I'm like, I need names, I need dates. Remind me what we're doing here. I think we're like slowly, I'm slowly remembering what happened, but it's like, that was a long time ago. So then it's like, do you end up rewatching seasons twice? I don't know. And Nems is so slow. Like, he only ever wants to watch like 1 or 2 episodes at a time, while I'm like, let's binge it. So he slows me down sometimes. My apologies, this is not a bright look. I'm sorry. Putting on the Essence Lash Primer. Then I'm going in with the Maybelline The Falsies Lash Lift. Still a favorite. You can hear Rue snoring, but she is. Okay, somehow I didn't forget. I do need to set the rest of my face. I slightly forgot for a second there. But I only put the liquids, and then now I'm going in to set the rest of my face. This is the Makeup Revolution Bacon Blot Powder under my eyes. And you could probably use that Make Me Matte powder from e.l.f. all over your face too, but I'm going to use the Makeup Revolution and then this CoverGirl Outlast All Day, one of my favorite powders of all time. It is very good at oil control, not a bunch of coverage, so it's great for purse touch-ups. It's a really good, completely underrated powder, and I believe they have changed the packaging. I have the old packaging. I have a pimple coming in the tip of my nose. I know it's like a really common pimple place, but where my acne is normally hormonal, it never is on my nose. Fun! For bronzer, using the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. I know some of these products you've seen me use a million times, but I really do like them. So, and this is like, you know, I want to show you long wearing products, so I want to pick out things that are tried, true, and tested. Is that how that goes? It's funny, I was listening to Canadian True Crime, one of my favorite true crime podcasts, my girl Christy, and she was saying something, and she said, for all intents and purposes, which I believe is right? But I'm pretty sure I say, and a lot of people say, for all intensive purposes, or maybe they're both right. But I feel like it's one of those things that everybody messes up and doesn't realize, and it's just like an accepted thing. Oh, I needed some bronzer. For blush, this is an old favorite of mine. It's the Makeup Revolution Matte Blush Powder. This one is in Nude. They've also got a shade called Fusion that I absolutely love so much. These are great. I'm pretty sure these still exist, and they're just like nice matte blushes, good colors, no bulky packaging. I wanted to update you on this guy too. This is the Kokie Brow Mascara Tinted Eyebrow Gel, and I do really actually quite like this. It does distribute a lot of product though, so I kind of wipe it off, and then I find it also can make my brows shiny. So I try not to put too much on my brows, and I try not to get it on my skin because it kind of makes that part of the skin shine. Oh, and I meant to say this earlier in the video, but I had some questions about recommendations for the Sephora VIB sale. I'm personally not going to be shopping it, not because I don't want to, you know, save a couple bucks, although, you know, you're not really saving that much in the end with taxes and blah, blah, blah. But just because I personally don't feel comfortable increasing the amount of packages that mail people need to deliver in a time like this. I would just feel really bad. Like I saw somebody said, you know, if you happened to contract it, or if you happened to pass along to somebody, if you had to tell the authorities or whoever what you did over the past 10 days, would you be embarrassed by that? Which I thought was an interesting point, because if you're like, well, I wanted to go out and buy a lipstick, and you know, it was on sale, and so I ordered it, and I'm not trying to, you know, judge anybody who is going to shop the sale. You have the freedom to do what you like, but for me personally, I just don't feel comfortable with that. It just, I mean, I'm surrounded by makeup and I just don't want to create another touch point or added work for people who are already putting themselves in danger and providing an essential service. That product for me is just not essential. So I won't be shopping it, but you can check any of my recent Get Ready With Me's, favorites, foundation reviews, etc. that will list a plethora of things for you to pick up, I'm sure. Using one of my favorite drugstore highlighters. This is the Rose All Day Petal Glow Highlighter this shade is Rose All Day. And it is so good. Wow, I can see my brow hairs, like, they really be popping. It's a good time to grow out your brows though. I generally spray my face again. I probably should have done it before mascara, but I think my mascara is dried enough. I'm gonna spray it one more time before lip. Just, that's a habit where when I'm filming videos, because I don't like to do my outro with like the shiny spray face. Because although these do help yours, you know, with mattifying, why do I keep talking right after I spray it? They do give you a little bit of glow. What you can do too, let me do my lip first. This is one of my favorite lip combos. It is the L'Oreal Color Reshine lipsticks. This is Glossy Fawn, beautiful nude on its own, beautiful. Formula is great, not incredibly long lasting, but hydrating, beautiful colors. But I love mixing it with Luminous Coral because that just brings a little bit of peachy to it. But what I was gonna say is, if you are super oily after you spray your face, I forgot to mention this too. I'm getting questions about my hair and curly hair routines. I've got a bunch of them. I will link them down below. Right now though, I've just been air drying with absolutely no product in it. And although these curls don't last very long, you can see, you know, there's not as much definition here after I've tucked it behind my ear. It's good enough, and I'm not really wearing my hair. I'm wearing my hair in a ponytail every single day, except if I'm talking to you. I will I will wear it out like this. So I've just been letting it air dry. It air dries super, super quickly, and I was really surprised and delighted with the curls, minus the ones in the front. I'm pretty sure they have a little bit of heat damage, but yeah, I've been keeping the heat off of my hair the past few weeks. But if you do have super oily skin, after you've set your face with the setting spray for the last time, you can go in and powder your face again, but do not use too much, and make sure your face has completely set. Like my face has no stickiness on it anymore, and I just go and do my chin, my forehead, and like kind of around my nose and nose area. This is the CoverGirl powder, and I find it firstly takes down that shine a little bit if you don't like the shine, and also again locking things into place. But I did a lot of steps. Of course, you can choose from this what works for you, what you have available to you, play around with the steps. You can do all of the steps as well, but just make sure they are light layers of every single thing you're doing, because you don't want it to feel or look heavy. For me, I don't feel like this feels or looks heavy. It is something that I've been doing for years when I really want to keep things in place on my face. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you are safe and sound, and I am thinking of all of you. So thank you so much. And if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.